Introducing a lineup of international award-winning and talented indie authors, only on the Writers' Corner live show. If you are just joining us, welcome to the Writers' Corner live show. We're thrilled to welcome Stacey Chillemi. She's a powerhouse in the literary world. With an impressive 20 best-selling author status, Stacey's expertise extends beyond writing to encompass speaking and coaching. Her journey from NBC to becoming a full-time speaker and writer is nothing short of inspiring. So, get ready to be motivated and empowered as Stacey shares some invaluable insights on conquering challenges and achieving success. Don't go away. We'll be right back with the Writers' Corner live show.
Imagine a world where the lines of reality blur with the fantastical. Embark on journeys from humble beginnings to the pinnacles of literary greatness. On the Writers' Corner, we delve into the lives of unique wordsmiths, known for their compelling storytelling. They are artisans who craft fantastical realms, etched in our memory long after the final page is turned. Every tale begins with a single word, a single idea. Authors create sensations that keep you on the edge of your seat. Witness how they transform setbacks into stepping stones, use refusals to spark growth and turn rejections into catalysts for new inspiration. Witness the diversity in writing as it gives birth to a vast array of genres, from drama to mystery to children's stories, fantasy, and reality. Join us as we uncover sources of inspiration and the magic that defines the author's craft. Find out how authors breathe life into their characters and meticulously craft narratives and plots that captivate readers. Get a sneak peek into upcoming works and join us as we celebrate literary greatness, only on the Writers' Corner. We don't just celebrate best-selling Amazon and New York Times authors, but also indie authors. Join us on the journey from the birth of a tale to the creation of a masterpiece, only on the Writers' Corner live show. Stay tuned.
If you have just joined the show, then welcome to the Writers' Corner live show. If you're not yet following us on our social media channels, please do so, because that way you'll get notified the minute we go live. I'm Brigetti from Cape Town in South Africa, and our amazing guest today is Stacey Chillemi. Our live stream is brought to you by BLiveMedia, Creative Edge, and StreamYard, with immense gratitude to BSN, your all-in-one entertainment revolution, for making it possible for us to be on Roku, Amazon Fire, Google TV, and soon Apple TV. So join BSN for a world of boundless creativity. Now, before we introduce our amazing guest to the show, Stacey Chillemi, I want to say a hearty warm welcome to my friend and co-host, Mary Elizabeth Jackson. Mary is in Nashville in the USA, and I am in Cape Town. We've been doing the show together for almost 6 years, and we never get tired of it. Mary's a 5-time #1 Amazon best-selling author and a Gold Maxi award-winning children's book author. And her Empowering Inspired Kids series helps to amplify underrepresented voices. She's also a special needs and disability advocate and an ambassador advocate for Autism Tennessee. And in addition to that, you will also find at E&L Publishing and Sisters J Music. Mary, how are you today?
I am amazing today, and I'm so excited to be here with you. And yeah, we've been doing this so long, and it's never dull, never boring. And we get to meet some of the most amazing people, and I'm super excited about our guest today because she's also a friend of mine, and she's just, I think, just one of the most inspiring women that I know. And I think others, and you will feel the same way once you get to know her. She's been through a lot, and she's just keeps rocking on. So we're lucky to have her today.
I'm really looking forward to talking to Stacey as well. So if you are watching the show and you don't yet know who Stacey Chillemi is, she's a very, very dynamic woman with an impressive track record. She's a renowned speaker, an esteemed coach, a very captivating podcaster, and remarkably a 20-time best-selling author. She's recognized as one of the top 10 entrepreneurs of 2023 by no less than Apple News, and she also is often featured in prominent stories on platforms like Grit Daily. Stacey has made waves in the industry, that's for sure. She's also appeared on outlets like Psychology Today, Insider, Business Insider, Yahoo News, and accumulated an astonishing 17 million views. She's also been on the Dr. Oz show and collaborated with people like Ariana Huffington. She started off at NBC and as a full-time speaker and writer. She is now dedicated to empowering individuals to conquer their challenges and success. So let's give Stacey a very, very, very warm welcome. We are very, very excited to talk to her.
Hi.
Hello.
Do you feel special?
Hi, Stacey. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. And we're delighted to have the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better on the Writers' Corner live show. Your book, Empower Yourself and Not Let Your Emotions Empower You, emphasizes overcoming fears and rediscovering passion. And I think in the post-COVID world, we need this more than ever, because a lot of people have felt disempowered post-COVID. Can you share a personal experience that inspired this methodology that you use in the book?
Sure, I'd love to. At the age of 5, I had an ear infection and I had a virus. And my mother heard a gurgling sound in the other room. She went to check on me. And when she went to check on me, she saw me turning blue in a grand mal seizure. I was rushed to the hospital. They had found that the virus had traveled to my brain and caused encephalitis. They induced me into a coma right away. And they said, most likely if she comes out, she'll be paraplegic or she'll have severe brain damage. My father, who was Greek and very religious, he was praying by my bedside. He came from Greece. So there was one church and there was one statue in the church, and it was known to have teardrops roll from its eyes. And he was praying and asking that I would be okay. And when he looked up, a teardrop rolled from my eyes, and I looked at him and I asked for McDonald's French fries, and he was ecstatic. And they didn't find any brain damage, and I wasn't paraplegic, but I did end up with epilepsy, and it was a true battle. It was a roller coaster ride my entire life, especially when I got into college. It was very challenging. The late night study and the stress of getting good grades, my seizures increased, and I got to a point where I didn't know if I was even going to be able to finish college. And it was on my bucket list. It was one of the dreams I had for myself. So I looked for information, but there was no information at that time about epilepsy. It was a few doctors that wrote some books, and they were in medical terminology. And if you didn't have a medical degree, you really didn't understand what they were trying to get across. So that really upset me. And I wrote a letter to the Epilepsy Foundation. Back then they had a magazine, and I asked them to please publish my article. And I asked people, how do you cope with epilepsy? How do you get through living with this disorder? And to my surprise, 300 to 400 letters came to my home from people all over the United States and Canada. They shared beautiful stories of inspiration and guidance and hope. And I was just flabbergasted by it. I took a lot of those letters and used it to create my own regiment and to also give me inspiration. And I got through college, and then I got into the working world, and I said to myself, one day I'm going to write a book and I'm going to use those letters to help others. And when I was in the working world, I worked for a big corporation. And at that time, I felt a seizure coming on and there was nowhere for me to hide, nowhere for me to go. And so I fell to the ground. I was conscious during the seizure, but I couldn't move. And so a gentleman just walked over me. He was an executive and he just stepped over me and kept walking. And I could see him doing it and I couldn't believe it. I was really stunned by his actions. And then not too long after, I was released from my position because of my epilepsy. I had talked to a gentleman I knew from the Epilepsy Foundation. He was a director there, and they sent me to Congress, and I spoke about job discrimination, and I spoke about disabilities. And not too long after, President Bush had passed the Disabilities Act, and I really, realized at that point that something needed to be done. And I wrote that book, Epilepsy, You're Not Alone. At that point, it was one of the first books to ever come through about coping with epilepsy. There were no books on the market at that time, and it hit a bestsellers list right away. And I remember getting a letter in my email box, and someone said that I was on the verge of suicide. I read your book, and I just want to tell you thank you because you saved my life. And it was that at that moment I realized what my true purpose in life was. That my true calling in life was to help others. And I started to write and created a little website. And right away, people had swarmed to the website. And I talked about natural healing. I talked about different ways to holistically help your body and to help yourself. And people really took an interest in it. And then I started to do a lot of freelance work. And I met a gentleman, and he was a holistic doctor, and he focused on holistic healing. And he asked me to do a lot of research and writing on holistic living. And I did a lot of research, and I said, wow, a lot of these things could apply to my own life. And I started trying things by myself, and my seizures went from 12 to 9 to 8, 7, 6 to a point where they became controlled. And I realized by applying my medication and by changing my lifestyle, I was able to heal my body and control my seizures. And so I started to write books about it. I started to talk about it. I started to do speaking events and started to advocate and then do a lot of advocating work for people with epilepsy and disabilities. And that's how it all began. And it just snowballed from there. And then people started to see all my writing on the website. People were contacting me and asking me for help because, people didn't really talk about these things. It was a lot of stigmatism in our society for people with disabilities, especially epilepsy, because people didn't know a lot about it. And so, my goal was to educate others, to help others, and to help people realize that they rise above the chaos, that they can actually become the people that they dreamt of becoming, that life doesn't stop just because you have a condition, any type of condition, because we all have something in life. We all have a story. We all have, something to tell. But what happens is a lot of people get stuck when they get diagnosed with something, or if they're going through things and they don't know how to get past that point. And life does not have to stop because you have a condition. Life goes on. And I'm here to teach people how to do that and how to make their dreams become a reality, because everyone deserves to have a healthy, happy, and productive life. There's no reason why they shouldn't.
Wow. I'm gobsmacked. I think you
Yeah, I
literally
know.
took my breath away when you shared that bit about this guy, an executive no less, literally walking over you. It's like I had a gasp there. It was like, what? How does that even happen?
I know.
But even though we've come such a long way, I don't know what your opinion is, but I think there are still, even in this day and age, um, a lot of myths and misconceptions that exist around epilepsy. So your work is absolutely necessary, and just to be that beacon of hope for people out there who are struggling and who don't have access to the information you've had, and for them to read your story, because that's what gives them hope and courage.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I want you to, can you delve a little bit deeper into, because like what Brigetti is touching on and what you've touched on is like our world is really filled with obstacles and limitations. But can you let us know just a little bit more of like how can individuals break free from this constraints and unlock their full potential? Because that's your path. And
Yeah.
that's your goal, right? So can you give us a couple of things that you can think of?
Sure. One of the first things I realized, even from my own life, was the denial. The first step is getting over the denial, because for so many years, growing up especially, I always wanted to be like the other kids. I always wanted to be treated as an equal. And so I always tried to, if someone said, don't dive off the diving board, I found the biggest diving board I could find and climbed up there and dove off to prove that I could do it. I never wanted to acknowledge that I had epilepsy. I never wanted to acknowledge that I had a disability. And that was one of the problems that, it was step one. And it's probably the biggest problem in the foundation, is that you have to overcome the denial. You have to realize that you have something, whatever it may be, that you have, you have to accept it, and you have to learn how to love yourself. You have to learn how to look in the mirror and say, I love the person who I see. And that's very hard for many people to do, because a lot of people, hold a lot of anger and repressed emotions, and they struggle every day to get through the day. And so there's a lot of issues going on. And so you have to really learn first to accept yourself, learn how to love yourself. And then from there, we have to learn how to build our self-esteem, because a lot of people with different conditions or illnesses or disabilities tend to have low self-esteem and self-worth. They don't believe that they could, they have a problem where they compare themselves to other people, and we can't compare ourselves in life. We are our own individual, and we have to focus on our strengths, and we have to improve our weaknesses. And so working on your self-esteem and your self-confidence is very important, and creating, different types of goals, and short-term goals and long-term goals, and think about who you want to be. What is your dream? Well, what is your purpose in life? What do you want to become? What has always been, your true dream? And this can happen at any age. And start creating goals. Start creating short-term goals and long-term goals. And think about the things that are going on with your life. And think about your weaknesses. Thinking about your strengths. And thinking about the things that you do great. And focus on those things. Some people are very creative and artistic. Some people are very, very good with numbers. And you have to think about what your strengths are, and really give yourself a pat on the back, and give yourself a little self-care and self-love, and really be proud of who you are. And then work on those things that need to be worked on, and set goals on how you're going to improve certain things in your life to make yourself a better person. And as you go along, when you start to create goals for yourself, people, we live in a society where people always want fast results, and fast results don't come about. We really need to focus on, making short-term goals for ourselves. And every time we accomplish something, give ourselves a pat on the back. And we really need to connect. People don't realize, but the mind, body, and the inner spirit are all one. We have to have a clear, concise outlook on life. We have to really work on our mental health, because having a condition or going through anything, any type of stress in life, any stress has an impact on our mental health. 70% of illnesses are caused by stress, and people don't realize that. And we're just breaking down our immune system and opening the doors for more things to come about if we don't take care of our bodies and our health. And so we have to really focus on our mental health. We need to focus on our physical health. I always talk about eating. People don't realize, but the foods we put in our body can have a big impact on how we feel, and how, whatever, if our body doesn't recognize a food and can't break it down, it stores it. And all these toxins store into our body, leach onto our organs, slow our body down, can actually fog our brain up, can actually give us fatigue, can actually cause illnesses. And society doesn't, we are actually becoming a more aware society, but still in the United States, we have a very large obese and weight problem in the United States. So people aren't really completely grasping the idea of healthy eating. We are getting there. We are improving. But that's another thing that we have to focus on too. What are you putting in your body? And then, focusing on nutrients and supplements, and how old are you, and are you deficient? And these are things too. And spiritually, I feel, for me personally, meditation, yoga, really being able to understand who I am as a person and what I need, being able to go inside myself and to understand who Stacey really is and what Stacey really needs. And we all, I call it the intuition, the third eye. And if you ever sometimes get thoughts in your head, and, if you're walking in the street and someone says, oh, don't cross the street, that stranger doesn't look like a good person, wait a few minutes, and then some people will just do it and some people will wait. Our intuition, our body always talks to us. And even when it comes to food, if you're really tired after you eat a meal, well, your body's having trouble breaking down that food. If you're, or if you're just, if you're getting thoughts in your head about, your body's trying to talk to you. Your body is always trying to give you messages, and it's time to stop and really listen to what your body needs. So, those are things I talk about too. And I focus on really teaching people how to become the person that they want to become. And self-care, self-love is very important, and giving yourself what you need. People don't realize it, but we're always trying to give to others sometimes, especially mothers, and, or even fathers. You have a lot of people pleasers out there, but we can't give until we start taking care of ourselves first. How could you help others if you don't help yourself first? So you really have to look at yourself as a person and really think about who you are, what you want to be. And just because you have, something, our society, we put this persona in our social media that, all these beautiful pictures and these things, and people compare themselves, and they don't realize, especially when you worked in the media, that these people are just like us. And, they wake up and they come into the studios, they look just like us, and they have 3 hours worth of makeup on, and they're getting expensive clothes to temporarily put on. Yeah, they're going to look good. Or even in the social media, they put these personas on, they're just like us, and people have to understand that, we all are very similar. We all have different stories, but we all are connected, and we all are very similar. And you can't judge others either. You can't judge others until you walk through their shoes. And I talk about that too. And I talk about being proud and really loving yourself, and really, focusing on who you want to be. Because if you really truly want to be something in life, and you really want to get to a certain point in life, there's nothing stopping you. We may not exactly, get exactly what we put in our head, but just the accomplishments we make, we have to give ourselves a pat on the back, because sometimes we think our journey is this, and our journey and life takes us in a totally different direction. So we have to just go with the flow and learn how to take care of ourselves. And those are different steps and different issues that I talk about that really make an impact on people's lives.
Well, it's very, very important. Absolutely important. And it's made a huge difference in your life. And so sharing those it's going to help somebody out there today. We just know it. Okay. Your book emphasizes shifting mindset and tapping into inner strength, just what we're talking about. How do you navigate moments of self-doubt or adversity? And what advice do you offer to individuals that are facing similar challenges like you?
A lot of times we tend to underscore ourselves. We tend to not think we're worthy. A lot of times people will not give themselves credit, and we are the most harsh critics, of our own selves. We always we have self-doubt because we're afraid of failure. But I don't believe in failure. If you try, then you can't fail. Just trying is an accomplishment. And if you don't make it to the area that you wanted to make it, well, you've learned from it. And the biggest thing in that I talk about in mindset is positivity, the power of positivity. And we have to realize that we have to take every negative thing that happens in our lives and pull out something positive. So when you have something that happens in your life, I used to tell people when I was on stage, I'm happy I got epilepsy. And, people would look at me like I have 6 heads. And it was because, I would not be the person I am today. I would not have the empathy, the love, the compassion that I have if I didn't go through what I went through in life. My disorder took me on a totally different journey, and and sometimes you can, when you stop and you think and you compare to others, that's when the self-doubt comes in. Get that negativity out and think about who you are as a person, and really meditate on who you are, what you've accomplished. Sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit. Let's think about, what we've accomplished, and the adversity and the people in our society. Don't pay attention to them, because the people who usually say things in our society are the people who have the most issues. And it's not about you, it's about them. And those are their issues to deal with. It's not our issues. Our issue is we need to be happy with ourselves. Are you happy with yourself? Are you happy with the person when you look at the person in the mirror? Are you proud of the accomplishments that you've made? Think about, have gratitude. And that's a big thing I talk about too, is gratitude. Let's have gratitude for everything that's happened in our life and the people in our lives. And don't self-doubt, because you are a wonderful person. You are a great person, and you have to realize that, and don't compare. Focus on you and focus on what makes you happy as a person. As long as you're happy with yourself, that's all that matters. Don't worry what people outside say, because they don't know you. They don't know what's best for you. The only person who knows what's best for you is you. And if you're not sure, then go inside yourself and find out what's best for you. And that's when we think about meditation, and we think about taking time out for ourselves and taking care of our mind, body, and spirit.
Wow, that is amazing. Stacey, we're almost out of time, but just quickly in closing, you mentioned earlier how you were able to turn around your situation with feeding your body properly. How can people connect with you or find the range of products that you have available?
They can find me on staceychillemi.com. That's STACEYCHILLEMI.com. And I have all my information there. All my other websites are connected to that website. I have my blog that has thousands of articles on it there. I do coaching and I help people. And I also, do speaking events, and I will come to different areas all over the place to speak and to help people, because sometimes, I love speaking. I think it's great when people can connect with another human being and you see each other. There's an energy in that room that you don't find in other places, or even in webinars. And, you'll find that there's an energy going on. People are really looking to change. They're looking for a better life. And when we're all on the same track, it's a wonderful feeling. But you can find me on staceychillemi.com, and you can, always contact me through my contact information. I'll answer.
Stacey, it was wonderful having you as a guest on our show today. We're very grateful that you could join us, and we'd really love to have you back. It's such a huge topic that I think we really needed an hour for this conversation. So if you're open to it, we'd really love to have you back again sometime to talk some more about the work that you've done. Epilepsy is a huge, huge topic. And so we'd love to hear some more about that. I want to thank our amazing audience for joining us on the Writers' Corner live show today. And we'd love to welcome you back to another episode next week at the same time. Stacey, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm very gracious.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the Writers' Corner live show. 30 minutes of insightful author conversations with some of the biggest names in the industry, including award-winning authors and international indie sensations. Join us on the next episode of the Writers' Corner live show.